All right, we have come back together again to pick up where we left off with the book of Proverbs. And I wrote in my Bible, as is my practice, and it's right here next to chapter 12. The big arrow says here. So I think that's where we were, unless you have something different. So we'll go ahead and read as we have. I'm going to just go back. 12 is if we make it into 11, or I mean into 13. 12 is longer. Yeah, is that right? That's right. So I think we'll be able to power through this. It's great. There's big swaths of sections in this too. So who would like to read first? And we will do 12:1 through 12 9.
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
Whoever loves instruction loves knowledge, but he who hates correction is stupid. A good man obtains favor from the Lord, but a man is of wicked intentions, he will condemn. A man is not established by wickedness, but the root of the righteous cannot be moved. An excellent wife is the crown of her husband. Well, this is all over the place. But she who causes shame like rottenness in his homes. The thoughts of the righteous are right, but the counsels of the wicked are deceitful. The words of the wicked are lie in and wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright will deliver them. The wicked are overthrown and are no more, but the house of the righteous will stand. Through 9, right? A
Yep.
man will be commended according to his wisdom, but he who is of perverse heart will be despised. Better is the one who is slighted but has a servant than he who honors himself but lacks bread.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's enough for one night. Thanks, guys. Great. All right. So we're coming back to this this same theme. Remember, we started off, I said there's a primer, and that is the fear of the Lord, which came up over and over again in the preceding chapters. We'd always get around to the fear of the Lord. Here in the first one, whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates correction is stupid. Pretty blunt, isn't it? He who loves discipline loves knowledge. So the disciplined person is the person who's going to be able to order themselves, whether it's to Bible study or prayer or going to church, being a part of something larger than themselves, that they love it because there's something larger than it that they're drawn to. So the discipline of the Lord is the presence of God. It's not my thing. I'm being fed. I'm a person who loves order and structure, but I'm being fed by my practice, but that's not the root of this practice. The root of this practice is the focus on God. So that takes us.
My Bible says he who loves instruction loves knowledge.
Yeah.
Not discipline.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the Greek word is for that.
I can find that out. It's really the same. You think about it, it's instruction. If you don't have discipline, you can't take instructions.
Well, instruction is like a subset of discipline.
Sure.
So yeah. And instruction means sort of to teach you something, but discipline can mean several different things.
Is it the Jerusalem Bible?
No, this is the New King James.
Oh.
Oh,
Shirley has the Jerusalem, and so yeah, she would have something different probably.
I like that Jerusalem Bible.
of course,
Do
it's
you?
not.
Mm-hmm. The old one.
Well, hers, yeah, hers probably goes back to when she was in school.
Mine is so different. I can't even look at it when somebody's reading their Bible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Say in the first verse. What does yours say?
Let's see. Whoever loves,
Gail, I don't think we heard you.
What does yours say in the first verse then? That
Who?
it's so different. You.
Oh, it's not just that. It's other verses.
Oh,
It just says to learn, you must love discipline. It is stupid to hate correction.
yeah. So it's, of course, it's not Greek, it's Hebrew.
Oh, yeah.
And the Hebrew, remember the Hebrew has fewer words than English. Most dialects have fewer words than English. So this one, the Greek, the translation of the Hebrew word is musar, and the English equivalents are discipline, instruction, correction, and chastisement. And the reason why they have this is because those words are inserted in different texts. So it's the same word, musar, but then it's used differently. It says primarily refers to the concept of discipline or instruction, often in the context of moral ethical teaching. It encompasses the idea of correction and guidance, aiming to lead one towards wisdom and righteousness. In the biblical context, musar is frequently associated with teaching and the commandments of God, emphasizing the importance in adhering to divine wisdom and understanding. So it's both, both are legitimate. Teaching, training, instruction, correction, chastisement, discipline.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Good question. All right, good man obtains favor from the Lord, but the Lord condemns the crafty man. So when God have one, right? The good man obtains favor from the Lord, so I'm a good man. I obtain favor from the Lord, but the Lord condemns the crafty man. So the crafty man doesn't know he's being condemned. God just does it because he's not looking to God to get approved or disapproved. It just happens. A man cannot be established through wickedness, but the righteous cannot be uprooted. So righteousness, of course, we're talking about in the biblical sense is the righteousness of the God. So if we are founded in God, if we place our roots in God, we're adhering to God, then we can't be uprooted. That's the martyrs, right? And being told, we'll save your life if you swear off your God, and they won't do it. Some of the most terrible scandals of the Crusades were the priests or the mainly bishops that made the history books, because when they went on the Crusades, because it made them famous if they did that, they went on the Crusades, and then the Crusaders lost to the Muslims. The Muslims would make you convert or they would kill you. And so the bishops were the first ones to convert. They would strip off their raiment and throw themselves on the ground, and they convert right away. And their slogan was, convert today, repent tomorrow. So they would convert to save their lives, and then they would sneak away, go back to England or wherever they came from, assume their place as the bishop again, and then confess that they did this terrible thing, and they would pretend that it didn't happen. So not rooted well, no roots. So that's the opposite of what we're having here. The wicked man dies. Oh, that's wrong. The man cannot be established through wickedness. So there, I think of that whenever I come across passages like this anywhere. Those guys who think that they were great and they meant something in those days are held up now as the opposite. They're not established. They don't have a lineage. All right. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown, but a disgraceful wife is like decay in his bones. It says It doesn't say, this isn't about the wife, is it? This is about the husband.
Proverbs 12.
What?
We're in Proverbs 12.
A wife of noble character is her
We're in
husband's
Proverbs
counsel.
12.
About the business about the husband. And a wife, a disgraceful wife, is a decay to his bones. So that's pointing to the devotion of the husband. It says that the manner of his wife is so important. The manner of his wife is so a part of his life that it will make him or break him.
Yeah.
That's a sign of love and devotion. So it's often missed. There is women don't, I think we've lost this understanding. I think we had it a long time ago, a lot better. Women don't really understand now very much that the men's love and devotion for their wives is different in its rootedness, and it's there's a you hear the stories all the time about the wife leaving and the husband is just decimated, just loses everything, can't go on, changes his life. There's a deep rootedness that's that the women are able to either lift up and guide and help their loved one excel and become, or very easily the opposite. Very easily the opposite. There's a lot. In fact, I saw this in a comic book when I was a kid, and I didn't understand it. It was an Avengers comic book, and there was a being called the Beyonder, because he was a living universe that didn't know he was a universe until there was a hole poked in reality by Galactus. And when the hole was poked in reality, the living universe looked through the hole at another universe and went, oh, and became a living being, and then made himself into a person because he ran into people, and then went to Earth. And eventually the Avengers found him, and they had to stop him but you can't stop a living universe. I mean, he's the universe. So they're in this big, huge battle, and then he had met, I think it was Titania, if I'm not mistaken. Big, she's a superhero woman, and he fell in love with her. And in this battle, he killed Captain America. It just devastated me. I mean, I was wounded. I was just, oh my gosh. All the Avengers are just dead or dying and wasted, and he gets hit by like Iron Man and Thor and the Silver Surfer, and all at one time, and it shakes him, and he turns to Titania and he says, "My love," and she recoiled because she saw the power and was afraid. And he looked at her for a moment, and then he dropped dead. And in that moment, he put out all his cosmic power and revived everybody, brought everything back. Because when the woman that he loved rejected him, it was he didn't want to be anymore. That was it. And I was like a kid. I'm like, oh, it's stupid. That's dumb. It's truer than you think. The plans of the right. These right here, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Right. This is just a classic, as we've seen before, in good versus bad. The righteous versus the wicked. The words of the wicked lie, but the righteous are upright rescues. The wicked men are overthrown, but the house of the righteous stands firm. And the man praises according to his wisdom, but the man warped minds despise. So that's all the good and bad thing. This is a description of good and bad for the person. 9 is a singular. Better to be nobody and yet have a servant than to pretend to be somebody and have no food.
Yeah, I have trouble with understanding this one. Better is the one who is slighted but has a servant.
Yeah.
That doesn't.
Mine doesn't say that at all. Mine says,
Number 9.
better a lowly man who supports himself than one of assumed importance who lacks bread.
Yes.
That makes much more sense than mine.
Yeah. Yep.
What's your version, Sue?
I just read it.
Oh,
No, what version is your Bible?
Oh,
yeah, that's bad.
it's the New American Bible.
Okay.
The Jerusalem Bible of Caroline says, better is a common man who does his own work than the one who plays the Lord and goes short of bread, which is real similar to what you said, Sue.
Very good. All right, now who wants to read? We'll read 10 through 24.
And through 24.
Sue, you want to do it?
In other words, work ain't gonna kill you.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Gail, you want to read it?
Okay. A righteous man regards the life of his animal, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. He who tills his land will be satisfied with bread, but he who follows frivolity is devoid of understanding. The wicked covet the wicked covet the catch of evil men, but the root of the righteous yields fruit. The wicked is ensnared by the transgression of his lips, but the righteous will come through trouble. A man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth, and the recompense of a man's hands will be rendered to him. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he who heeds counsel is wise. A fool's wrath is known at once, but a prudent man covers shame. He who speaks truth declares righteousness, but a false witness deceit. There is one who speaks like the piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise promotes health. The truthful lip shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Deceit is in the heart of those who devise evil, but counselors of peace have joy. No grave trouble will overtake the righteous, but the wicked shall be filled with evil. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who deal truthfully are his delight. A prudent man conceals knowledge, but the heart of the fools proclaims foolishness. The hand of the diligent will rule, but the slothful will be put to forced labor.
Cool.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, anything stand out? Anybody want to grab one?
Well, when you first started reading that, I thought of a quote from Harry Potter where Sirius Black says the measure of a man is not how he treats his equals, but how he treats his servants, or how he treats
Those
his
below him.
those
Yeah.
below him. And that seems to sum up a lot of this.
Yeah. This goes back, that singular verse 9, that's the anomaly in there. This 10 through 24 go back to the good and righteous and bad. And then you hear this in 13, 14, and 12, or 13, 14, 19, 20, 23 are all about the mouth, all about the lips and speaking. Lips, the fruit of the lips. The evil man's trapped by sinful talk. The truthful lips endure forever. The Lord detests lying lips. Lots in there about. So remember Jesus in the gospel says that the mouth has a singular power, unique power among the parts of the body, able to go beyond itself like no other part. So the wounds of the mouth can be the greatest wounds in a lifetime. Things said and things not said. The opportunity to say something and then to lose it. I've spoken with a lot of people who were suffering in their mature age because they never heard their mother or their father tell them that they loved them. And I always ask them, did you know that your mom loved you? And they said yes. I said, how'd you know? And they'd say, well, they tell me a story about their mom, things she did that was wonderful and helped them. And she remembers playing with them. But she never said, I love you. And that always was a pain. So the mouth is incredibly powerful, both out in the world and maybe especially in the home, what's said and what's not said.
23 bothers me a little bit. When the first part, a prudent man conceals knowledge. And that makes me think of some people that I used to work with at the bank that thought that if they knew something, that would make them more valuable. And if but the people that were really valuable were the people that shared what they knew.
You know, I'm not sure. I think that this isn't like doing what you're talking about. what you're talking about sounds pretty bad, right? I've got knowledge and I'm using it as a weapon against you.
Yeah.
I think that would put them into the wicked category. I think this is saying that the person who really doesn't know, the fool, is the braggart who tries to tell everybody what to do and how to do it. They get out there in front of themselves and exercise a knowledge and an understanding that they really don't have. Where the person who does know is confident, and there's a peace and a strength in that when it's necessary will be shared, used.
When I read this, that well, the thing that makes it I guess a little better is the thing from James, be quick to be slow to anger, be slow to speak, be quick to listen.
Yes. Let's see if I have a different one here. 3 forces proclaims.
What does yours say? What's
Which one?
what's 23 from in yours?
It's very much like yours. The man of discretion keeps his knowledge hidden. The heart of fools proclaim their folly.
Yeah, the second part is pretty self-explanatory. That I just don't like the first part of that sentence.
Like all these proverbs, they're not about normal. It's the extremes, right? We've all been around the person who has to tell you everything they know. They know it all. It's exhausting. Whereas the man of discretion waits for the knowledge to be needed, shares it.
Yeah.
He's not being deceitful, but you don't have to hear him go on and on.
Yep.
So I think that's these proverbs are. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, which is Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities. But I think that's the format of all of these.
Yeah. Proverbs for living. There you go. All right, who wants to read 25 through 28, which is the end of 12?
I will.
You go.
Worry weighs a person down. An encouraging word cheers a person up. The godly give good advice to their friends. The wicked lead them astray. Lazy people don't even cook the game they catch, but the diligent make use of everything they find. The way of the godly leads to life. That path does not lead to death.
Pretty clear. I like 26 in this one. Mine says a righteous man is cautious in his friendships, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. So from a faith perspective, it's be careful who you make friends with. Your friends may not be the friends you should have. Your friends may be the ones that encourage you to turn away from your faith or doubt your faith or think otherly. They don't encourage you to go to God and look for the answers in prayer. They encourage you to look for the answers in yourself or your own opinion about things or whatever it is. So it's a subtle thing, We don't usually think it's not no harm done. But yeah, over time, there certainly will be harm done. It pulls people away from their focus on their faith and puts it someplace else. So be careful. He says here, righteous man is cautious in friendship. Be careful who your friends are. How much weight you put in them and how much time you spend with them. Bad friends, wrong friends, friends from a different place can be troublesome. And this goes quadruply into marriage. I was just talking the other day with two different people who have family members who married different faith traditions. And it's ended badly. It's working out badly. And it's working out badly because sometimes people get away from their faith tradition in the middle of their life, and then they come back to it in the later part of their life. And when they start to come back to it, and they want the other person that they love to come back with them, and that person's going back to their faith in their later life. So instead of the people in their later life actually coming together, they're actually going apart. And that's if there's no family involved. The other person had family. You know, he's a Christian, she's Jewish. And they said they're both secular faiths. They are secular Christians, secular Jew. And they said no problem. But then when they had the kids, suddenly his wife's family came out of the woodwork and said, well, they have to be Jewish. And so the father said, well, that's okay. I guess it's okay. And then after a little while said, that's not okay. I think I want him to be a Christian. So there's a divide there that I think people really gloss over in friendship and love. When I was dating, I'll tell you the truth. When I was dating, I got set up on a blind date with a very wonderful woman. I went to a dinner with her and a Baskin Robbins in Old Town Alexandria, Virginia. And it was wound up being a double date, met up. And when it was time at the Baskin Robbins, I got up and I shook her hand and said, I gotta go. I shook her hand and said goodbye and I went out the door. My friend came running down the street. He said, what are you doing? You guys are perfect together. And she's this wonderful woman. And, I know about her. She's great. I said, yes, but we sat at the table right there and she said flat out that she's not a Christian, doesn't want to be. And I think marriage is hard enough. And I'm not going to start it with somebody who doesn't have the same perspective on life that I have. So I don't want to date her because if I date her, I might fall in love with her. And I don't want to fall in love with her because I don't want to start my life that way. So you may have to sacrifice something, change friends, change the people that you're with, but it'll be the best thing in the long run. All right, 13. Woo-hoo! How about, this is a bunch of groups too. So why don't we do 1 through 11? Sue?
I'll read. A wise son loves correction, but the senseless one heeds no rebuke. From the fruit of his words, a man eats good things, but the treacherous one craves violence. He who guards his mouth protects his life. To open wide one's lips brings downfall. The soul of the sluggard craves in vain, but the diligent soul is amply satisfied. Anything deceitful a just man hates, but the wicked brings shame and disgrace. Virtue guards one who walks honestly, but the downfall of the wicked is sin. One man pretends to be rich, yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor, yet has great wealth. A man's riches serve as ransom for his life, but the poor man heeds no rebuke. The light of the just shines gaily, but the lamp of the wicked goes out. The stupid man sows discord by his insolence, but with those who take counsel is wisdom. Wealth quickly gotten dwindles away, but amassed little by little it grows.
Yeah. All right. Anybody? Someone hears something exciting?
My version on for 10 says wealth gained by dishonesty will be diminished, but he who gathers by labors will increase. And both perspectives are true. That I think wealth gained by dishonesty will be diminished, but then I think yours, Sue, said that wealth gained quickly will be Sue?
Mine is verse 11, and it says, wealth quickly gotten dwindles away, but amassed little by little it grows.
Yeah, and I think that's talk about like the difference between the nouveau riche and the old money.
Yeah.
And
Or the lottery winners, they got it all and then they don't, I don't know why they can't do it right, but it seems to always be a mess.
There's an old saying that I don't remember exactly how it goes, like save your pennies, your dollars will take care of themselves, or something along those
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah. Well,
so
this is,
that's
and again, this is not just about, real cash, although we can apply it and it works, but it's also the metaphor for the value of life. So the person who says, I'm the dishonestly makes them or proclaims himself in a dishonest way. The one we said earlier, the one who proclaims themselves, and this is all about lying. The deceitful one, deceitful one, deceitful one. I'm all that, and then I'm some. And then when it comes time for you to get called on the phone or get called to the place where you're going to exercise all that vaunted wisdom that you've been telling everybody that you've got, you're going to fall flat on your face because you haven't got any. And everyone's going to know it, going to come out. But the one who learns as they go, who moves along, taking on the wisdom of their elders and the wisdom of those whom they watch and they see, and just live that wisdom in themselves, will wind up with a richness in themselves that they don't even know they have until the time comes when it's needed, and they will simply rise to the occasion. So it's just living a good life, a well-ordered life, and taking the instruction and the example, the illustration and the leadership of others. Yep. So we have more 2 and 3. We have another one about the mouth, the fruit of the lips, he who guards his lips, being honest in 5 and 6, and then pride. Pride is from 7 through 11. The light of the righteous shines brightly, but the lamp of the wicked is snuffed out. So you have the juxtaposition of one and then the other. The pride only breeds quarrels, but wisdom is found in those who take advice. And then, I like also 4. What did your 4 say, Sue?
The soul of the sluggard craves in vain, but the diligent soul is amply satisfied.
Yeah. Yeah. I want it now and I don't want to work for it. Right? I crave it. I deserve it. It should be mine. But the one who has the value of their life is satisfied.
I wasn't in the room when you were reading, but 7 is a little puzzling to me. Mine says, some who are poor pretend to be rich, others who are rich pretend to be poor.
That's all it says?
For 7, yeah.
Well, that's strange.
Mine says one man pretends to be rich yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor yet has great wealth.
That's what mine says.
Well, I mean, but that's basically the same thing, but it's still kind of puzzling.
Let me see what the Hebrew says here.
Those who are rich.
I think that's sort of dealing with pride, maybe, in a way.
Those who are rich.
well, it's the way I read it, anyways. That there is one who makes himself rich and yet has nothing, and that that seems to be pride or trying to keep up with the neighbors, that kind of
Yeah.
thing, that and thinking you get status by what you have, by whether you have a nicer car than the neighbors and all that kind of stuff. And the one who makes himself poor has great riches is, I guess that's the way this seems to be going, is that the first one is the the bad, and then the next line is the opposite. So I don't think this is well worded, but
We don't,
it
Amanda has a friend, Jenny, and she was telling me that recently with a bunch of house expenses, she was really struggling to have food. And so sometimes she would just eat, breakfast cereal or whatever, right? It didn't bother her at all. It didn't bother that she didn't have A, B, C, D, E. She was fine. It was all going to be okay. And she said her friend Jenny would be horrified at living that way, even though Jenny doesn't have any money. They have to go out and they have to do this and they have to do that. And Jenny's family has taught Jenny that. They have been very poor at times, but they do all these things to look normal, which end up, keeping them in a hole way longer than if they just said, okay, we have to live like moles. And she said, I didn't realize that we were talking about old money, new money. And Amanda said, I didn't realize that I had been taught how not to spend money if I didn't have it, how not to be embarrassed by not, not going out with the friends, not this and that. It was just, nobody ever questioned her because she just didn't do it. Whereas, Jenny has to keep up appearances, and is very stressed at times because she has to go with the girls when the girls go out. Whereas Amanda, well, sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. And I think that is a little bit this proverb. There are some who on nothing pretend to be rich. They're trying to keep up with everybody. And others, we don't need that. What the heck? They have it. They could spend it. But, to have more than you need because you've decided you don't need it is how you're rich.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much money you have. If you think you need more stuff than you can afford, you're poor. Whereas if you don't need it and you're fine, you're rich.
Yeah.
There-
And the
There
matter
are, limitations to that, but
There's a line from Dickens similar to that. I can't think of it.
And of course, the rich, again, a metaphor for living goes back to the likeness of wisdom, right? Those who just like the one we just talked about earlier, was that the people brag about having all the knowledge and walk around hoity-toity and wind up broke because they really don't have it. But the ones who are poor, who don't appear like they really know a lot, wind up being the ones who really know how to do it all and make it right. In fact, and what Carolee is saying is pretty much the literal translation of the Hebrew, which is pretty difficult, but it comes out the same way that Carolee's saying. So good focus on that one, Carolee, absolutely.
I just took it to mean others who are rich pretend to be poor is a matter of being modest,
Yes, that's exactly.
not bragging. And
Yeah, and the way yours is worded, that's exactly what it says. Yeah, yeah. It's the I know what I know and I don't have to flaunt it. The people don't know have to flaunt it because they don't know. They have to make you think they know because they know they don't know. They feel inferior, so they flaunt what they don't know.
well, if you're pretending to be poor, you're also avoiding making somebody feel bad that is poor.
That's good
If
too.
you pretend to be poor.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I don't think you have to pretend to be poor. You just don't brag on what you have.
Yeah,
That's what my Bible says.
Yeah, pretend is not a word in Hebrew. It's really translates, I guess the best translation is going to be metrosis and metrosis. One who makes themselves, one who makes himself, one who makes himself poor. one who makes himself rich. Yeehaw. All right. I'm gonna steer this, steer it this long. It's like watching water boil. I don't think staring at it's gonna change it. Okay, let's see what time we got. 6. How about we go from 11? We finished with 11. Let's go. How long is this?
25.
25. Let's just go to 18. See if we get through that. 12 through 18. You just want to read the whole thing? 12 through 25.
Yeah.
Okay, do it.
All right. You want me to do it or someone else want to do it?
Gail?
Okay.
All right.
It's 12.
Yep.
Okay. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when the desire comes, it is a true tree of life. He who despises the word will be destroyed. He who fears the commandment will be rewarded. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to turn one away from the snares of death. Good understanding gains favor, but the way of the unfaithful is hard. Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but a fool lays open his folly. A wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a faithful ambassador brings health. Poverty and shame will come to him who disdains correction, but he who regards reproof will be honored. A desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is an abomination to fools to depart from evil. He who walks with the wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. Evil pursues sinners, but to the righteous good will be repaid. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. Much food is in the fallow ground of the poor, or the fallow ground of the poor. And for lack of justice there is waste. He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him promptly. The righteous eats to the satisfying of the soul, but the stomach of the wicked shall be in want.
All right. Reward, favor, knowledge, instruction. Anybody pick one?
12 bothers me a little bit. That hope deferred makes the heart sick. You know, I think that delayed gratification is kind of I mean, you save up for something and then you appreciate it when you get it. It's
Yeah, but this isn't talking about getting, this is talking about hoping at all. If you can't see anything is gonna give you better, it's all gonna be, you're never gonna, that, you can't, if you can't see anything that you're gonna accomplish
Mhm.
in any way, that's terribly depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Carol.
Well-
That was great.
that, yeah, I see that for the first one, but when the desire comes, it is the tree of life.
Well,
don't understand
having
what
a
that
goal,
is.
having a plan, working towards it, achieving it. Doesn't get better than that.
Yeah,
Okay,
what's the second line of that in your translation?
but when the desire comes, it is the tree of life.
Yeah, I think that's a poor translation. So mine has, but the longing that is fulfilled is the tree of life. So the first one is hope unrealized is despair. And hope realized is the tree of life. So it's just,
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
yeah. This is, you know, this is pointing out how important it is to have multiple versions of the scripture, the translations that you're able to find the one that better fits and is understood. All right, what's another one?
We were saying verse 8.
Verse 8. Okay, my mother lived in the back of beyond this little tiny town that at the height of its glory probably had 30 people. She, as a child, was terrified of the revenuers and that she would be kidnapped. Now, I don't know what the deal was with the revenuers because they didn't drink alcohol. They had nothing that a revenuer would care about. And she was terrified of being kidnapped because of the kidnapping of the Lindbergh baby.
What?
Her mother told her, nobody's going to kidnap us, honey. You don't have any money. And then then she was still a little worried about the revenuers, but the idea of being kidnapped didn't bother her anymore. But that's so funny. The revenuers and being kidnapped in the middle of nowhere in Oregon.
Being a kid.
I wouldn't have put those two things together, the revenuers in Oregon.
You know, I know.
That's an Appalachian kind of thing.
What?
It's an Appalachian kind of thing.
Yeah, no, well, 30s and
Pardon.
What, Sharon?
Well, we're
I just
past.
said, I beg your pardon.
We're
Great there.
We're sliding past our hour, so let's do this. We've almost finished this up. I think we could spend a little more time on 12 to 25. So we'll pick up with a little review of that one next time, and then we'll be moving real quickly right into 14. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, very good. Thank you, everybody. Really, really love coming together with you on these nights. Well, I will break down here in my Bible.
What was the name of the singer?
yeah.
Tom
McCain.
McCain.
Okay, you remember it for me then.
Yeah. And when you search him, like do it on YouTube, put in Tom McCain songs, because there's a lot of McCains out there, and all these McCains come up. So you
When I get to the shoe store, Tom McCann.
put in Tom McCain songs, you'll get it. It's just a single picture of the album cover. That's all it is. Everyone, there's nothing else there. All right, guys. God bless you all. Have a wonderful night. Sleep well.
Thank you.
You too,
Good
bye.
night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.